Hey everybody, it's Simon Spiraled. Welcome back to Revolution Custom Standard League coverage. Funnily enough, we're here with DrChipmunk and AllWhoWander, two players who we already featured a couple days ago, but I believe AllWhoWander is on a different deck. Some interesting stuff there. Looks like maybe a Mardu version of Hardsuit, which is kind of cool. DrChipmunk will be still on blue-black Weft Dancer here. Pretty big mulligans going on. We're going to wait for players to finish rolling those out, and I'm going to highlight the hands once those get showcased. Things seem pretty commonplace here in the hands. We've got some openers with Kitsune Matriarch is going to work pretty well off of the treasure tokens that Shigane Manor Burns can produce, as well as the ones that Gone Picking can give. And a Primal Fisher in a Plane starts off the mana here for AllWhoWander. Over on DrChipmunk's side, looks like we've got Swamp and Temple of Origins. We've got a early Exorcist of Errors, Agent of Deception. We've got Out with the Old, which is a good 3-mana removal. Does plenty of stuff. And then, yeah, Death Deflection, Agent of Deception, providing some counter magic. We've also got Privilege Escalation, likely going to try and bin this card as fast as possible. So, interestingly enough, so I'm just putting it out there. Exorcist of Errors is always kind of like a mind game, right? So you've got two cards. You know that if you play out a land, your opponent's going to go for the hand. So you might as well put out the Gone Picking, right? If that's the only thing you have, and then hope that your opponent says, I want something better, and then goes for the land in the hand. So we'll see if that ends up happening here. Kitsune Matriarch here growing to a 2/2, gets a counter from the treasure being generated by Shigane Manor Burns. And of course, the card itself is great. You'll be able to discard a Sanguine Palace or anything else that you draw if you don't need it to exile some more cards. You'll probably get a land off of it. So usually it's pretty good. 2 damage is not far behind, and then followed up, of course, with more treasure tokens. Make sure that the Kitsune Matriarchs are growing naturally. Extra Swamp here in DrChipmunk's hand. I'm assuming it's going to be Exorcist of Errors. Makes a lot of sense here. And I believe the correct decision is to reveal the Gone Picking, right? Because if you reveal a land, your opponent goes for your hand anyway. So you might as well show Gone Picking and hope that they go for something better in the hand. Let's see if it happens. All right, going for Gone Picking. Not falling for the I secretly only have a land in the hand. So that's all right. We'll see what gets drawn here from AllWhoWander's turn. Shigane Manor is going to trigger 2 cards. The chance that you hit a land is not horrible. Looks like we're going for it anyway. And hey, rewarded. Or, I mean, basic. The Stark Expanse is fine. So playing it out tapped. Not to take the 2 life for no reason. And then a Smart Shopper, which, of course, if you've seen the Hardsuit Rev Tech video, you'll know how good this card has been in that deck. So card comes in, makes a berry, Kitsune Matriarch grows to a 3/3, which is the perfect power for getting through Exorcist of Errors here. And toughness, honestly, does mean that the Exorcist of Errors doesn't just chump it. 2 turns, we'll have a 4/4. Any future creature spells get cast are going to bring out Smart Shopper. And if 3 or more types of mana are spent to cast it, you'll get 2. So could be a reason why... for the Mardu build. I mean, the Shigane Manor Burns definitely as well. So, second Swamp here joins the first, so has access to Death Deflection, Agent, and Out with the Old. Interestingly enough, Agent of Deception can't hit it, but Death Deflection can. Out with the Old, of course, could be used on Kitsune Matriarch, which probably is important. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense here in my opinion. For a 1-drop, this card does really well. And it doesn't feel like oppressively well, just feels like decently good. So Shigane Manors are going to be offset by 1 turn, which is, totally fine. Equipping the berry here on the Smart Shopper to be able to swing in for an extra point of damage. Pops that berry. You don't need them lying around here. It's not like you don't have your Hardsuit out right now, or any reason why you would want to give them Exalted. So, might as well use them to punch through damage. I mean, DrChipmunk's already going to 8 here, playing the untapped Enigmatic Fen. Gives access to Preemption Daemon and or double counter spells, depending on what gets played here. This Shigane is going to create a tap treasure. This one's going to go for the discard and exile. So whatever gets drawn could be discarded. And hopefully draws into 2 more cards. So we'll see what gets picked up here. And like plenty of mana now to play all of it. Probably don't want to throw away Kitsune Matriarch, I would imagine. Oh, never mind. We're going for something a little more punchy. All right. I mean, I get it. Going to be a wind-beaten stones, I guess, right? Or are we going for the third Shigane? All right. Is it only one? Ah, one of those cards. Never mind then. Yeah, makes sense to play Shigane. Your opponent, of course, can use Deft Deflection if they don't want to see a third one enter the field. Because, yeah, eventually 2 and 2 and 2 are going to do a lot. So, Preemption Daemon. Okay, spell gets exiled. Can always be cast again for 3. I mean, could happen right away, right, with the 2 treasures. And, yeah. Doesn't sound a different turn, right? Yep. So just force the opponent to play a lot, and you get one of your treasures back anyway. So, good stuff. Good stuff all around. The 2 of these together is kind of cute. They don't synergize necessarily because you're exiling, not drawing. But the 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage is going to be a pretty big clock here. AllWhoWander at 18 life gives them a lot of breathing room. All right. Daemon chipping in for 2 damage. Aphani's Reveler coming out. Of course, one of the best ways of getting all these big cards in the yard, and it's just a good threat by itself. Oh, Offset Daemon is actually quite nice. And with Preemption Daemon tapped here. I mean, of course, there's, counter spells in hand. So it's unlikely to enter. But I believe this is cast a creature spell. 3 colors of mana were spent, so 2 berries are made. I would imagine it's going to be Agent of Deception, because it's a creature. Yeah, you might as well get the body on the board. All right. It's quite an interesting build, honestly. The fact that it creates token subroutines as well also works with Kitsune Matriarch. So some really nice stuff here. And sorry if my voice is a little off. I just got back, honestly, from a volleyball tournament where we just did the playoffs and the quarterfinals, and they were hard-won victories. We're moving up to the semifinals in 2 weeks, but boy, definitely feeling it. Short a mana here, but I mean, 2 damage and 2 damage. It's not going to take much longer for this one to hit. Aphani, of course, is going to swing and get to 8. So berries going up. That makes sense. Obviously, you want the 3 to get through, but 3... Okay, just going for 3, offering the 2. I mean, obviously, if Exorcist of Errors blocks, getting back your Gone picking is quite nice, but yeah. Looks like a little trade here. I'm guessing it's going to be the other berry while you have the mana for it. Makes sense. And you just really have to wait 2 turns, but the problem is there's going to be a bit of life here. Out with the old also is going to do some work. Exiling is quite nice as well. Controller losing 2 life. No blocks means Aphani is definitely going to get to the lifelink. So that'll be what? 3 points of life puts DrChipmunk back up to 5. Offset Daemon could be pretty important here. And Deft Deflection's still in hand, so even if you get your 4th mana, that Offset Daemon's not going to hit. There's the Attuned Acolyte and a Fabricated Anomaly going to the bin. This is actually quite nice. It's like a little mix of the Offset Daemon, Shigane Mana Burn sort of deck with Hardsuit. I'm really digging this. Nice little variety. Of course, huge amounts of damage. it's going to be 2/1/1, right? So it's going to be tap treasure, and then has a chance to find something better. So I'm assuming we're going to see a smart shopper get discarded, try and find the fourth land to go for offset daemon. Okay. You're going to have 2 here and 3, but again, death deflections in hand, right? So you really just can't let your opponent gain another 3 life here. Your clock doesn't do so well when your opponent's, going 3 life, 3 life, 3 life by the time you get yours back, right? This is tough. It's really a pickle. Like, honestly, smart shopper here would give another berry. That doesn't really hold down the fort super well. I mean, it does trade. It can go to 3 with a berry. In fact, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got the mana against the death deflection off a smart shopper. You would have a second berry. So if the opponent doesn't death deflection, you can put both berries on, which means you survive enough. Oh, never mind. I keep forgetting this thing also has menace. Mine. What a good 1-drop. All right, well, we'll see what AllWhoWander decides to do. We'll pause just for a second, and we'll get back as soon as a play is made. All right, looks like AllWhoWander went for the concession instead. So we're going to do what we just did. We'll pause again real quick, give the players a chance to sideboard, and see you back here in Game 2. All right, welcome back. Players have finished sideboarding. That was actually pretty fast, all things considered. Like less than a minute. Looking in the hand real quick, I would imagine... Oh, it's kind of hard to know if downlink overloads weren't in the main board already. I would imagine they're already there. This hand of like triple Swift Reproach is like absolutely hilarious. So it's going to be like a Kitsune Matriarch obviously on turn 1. Attuned Acolyte on 2 is great. And then Swift Reproach to like eat anything your opponent throws at you. And over on DrChipmunk's side, we've got an Aphanized Reveler early, Exorcist of Errors, Scrapyard, a bunch of lands. Yep. Downlink is exactly what you want here on this turn 1. You really want to hit the Kitsune Matriarch before it starts scaling. Definitely lowers the power of this attuned Acolyte. Well, your opponent's tapped out. I guess we're missing... Oh, yeah, because Mountain. So we're missing a white-black. So not able to actually cast Attuned Acolyte here. Darn. Going to be holding up Swift Reproach. So your opponent's probably going to go Exorcist of Errors. Obviously, there's some interesting stuff that you can do here. This is a much harder decision because there's a lot of cards in hand and none of them are lands, right? So do you give your opponent enough juicy choices? I mean, it's kind of a moot point. I think we're going to see Swift Reproach slap the Exorcist of Errors, so... It's more about maybe keeping some information hidden. Like if you put good enough cards out on the field, your opponent feels like they have to go for it. Especially when you're showing them 2 pieces of removal. Like, hey, I'm going to hit your card. I think I would also look at the hand. Like, if you know you're going to lose your Exorcist of Errors, might as well get perfect information here. Yeah, it is interesting. You take one of your opponent's best cards here. So, you know, there's it's Swift Reproach, Offset Daemon, or Attuned Acolyte, knowing that one of them is going to get taken. Yeah, it doesn't matter much, especially if your opponent's going to immediately Swift Reproach. So, yeah. But, you know, you got all the information you needed, right? All right, so this is what DrChipmunk knows about AllWhoWander's hand. We're just going to leave that there real quick. And also, I realize I keep forgetting to do the extra little stretch here to get that image nice and big. It always resets, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, it is what it is. Opponent's tapped out. Great turn to drop in this Attune to Acolyte. Just got to find a a way to grow it a little bit, but the fact that Hardsuit itself gives the Exalted off of Attuned Acolyte is always great. What's really spicy, actually, is that these offset daemons are going to have their subroutines also provide Exalted. So pretty spicy stuff. 2 damage here. Of course, your opponent knows that you've got 2 Swift Reproaches, so they definitely have to play around the fact that that is a thing. Still a bit of mana off from Weft Dancer, and obviously no targets in the yard. You probably want to keep Deft Deflection mana up. You know your opponent's got an offset daemon, I would imagine. You attack, you mill them a little bit, you get them 1 step closer to 8, right? You only need that 1 extra attack, and then being able to swing for 3 lifelink is going to make a difference. So there's the Swift Reproach. Of course, Deft Deflection could come in and save it. Might want to save it for something more game-threatening, like Offset Daemons. Let's see what happens. Oh, we were scrolled up. That's why things were making a lot of sense here. Okay, bit of a decision point here. We'll see what the opponent chooses to do, and we'll unpause in just a second. All right, looks like it resolves, saving the Deft Deflection for something a little scarier. 4th mana here would be quite good. None, but honestly, Melon here is fantastic. It goes around Deft Deflection. It provides another token, which is important, of course. The Attuned Acolyte's going to start hitting a lot harder. And then, of course, the... yeah, yep, that's also my thinking, too. Honestly, if it wasn't going to be the 4th land, this is actually probably almost an even better play. You've got also access to the Esper, so Tyrell Bureau. So your opponent's going to have some trouble blocking your creatures here. So swings for 3, which is really good. Oh, Chronicle here. Chronicle here is great. Yeah. That really sweeps up quite a bit of the board, and I would imagine it's the -2/-2 mode, right? Okay, well, it's actually really funny. Because you get to trigger, I believe, Tyrell Bureau's ability. So honestly, Surveil 2 here is pretty good, letting you dig for some lands. Looks like Wind Beaten Stones was put on top, with a Fabricated Anomaly as well in there. So good cards all around. All right, so Scrapyard Mecha is the best way of getting that privilege escalation into the yard. The problem is no real way to activate it. There's a mana short for DrChipmunk to drop that Weft Dancer. We'll clear this for now. Chronicle of Extinction's not going to get flashback anytime soon. As a heads up, players aren't actually playing Dominaria United basic lands. I just have these set as my default custom basics because sometimes I just don't like seeing the basic MSEM basic lands, so I've got these set up for all my Cockatrices. Hey, if there's ever a favorite basic land you've got out there from canon that you would like to see, always feel free to drop a note in the comments. Would be very happy to put those lands in for a few weeks or a few days, a few episodes. Who knows? It's a fun little thing I'm open to doing. All right, a lot of thinking. Yeah, passing on the turn. Deft Deflection up is still pretty important. It's pressuring your opponent. I would imagine that AllWhoWander is probably, figured out that there's Counterspell in hand because DrChipmunk has just been passing the turn a lot. Not enough mana here to trigger a Tyrell Bureau. Anyway, it's sorcery speed only, so that's a non-issue. Nothing to Swift Reproach, so I imagine we're just going to move on to AllWhoWander's turn here and see what we're going to draw. Alrighty. Nothing here on end step. Moving to the main. There's the wind-beaten stones that we had seen, paying the 2 life. I mean, yeah. Make sure the opponent has it, right? Def deflection, offset daemon goes to the yard. The interesting thing about this is, of course, DrChipmunk doesn't know there's a second offset daemon. Offset daemon can now enter, create this subroutine, put it on 1, and that guarantees, I mean, of course, it's got to enter, and your opponent's got to not, draw a counterspell. But if you do, you're going to get back your other offset daemon right away. It won't trigger and won't create a subroutine, but, pretty good stuff all around. All right. Here's Scrapyard Mecha. And this is essentially signaling to your opponent that you have Counterspell in hand. Of course, DrChipmunk does not have a 2-mana Counterspell in hand. But hey, if you're going to fake it, pretty good way of doing that. I love it. AllWhoWander's like, yep, you have it or you don't. Here's the Offset Daemon. Resolves. That's a pretty clear, your opponent does not have a 2-mana removal or a 2-mana counterspell here. We're going to get our subroutine Overflow out. Of course, we would need to find another attuned acolyte to start getting those with Exalted, but I believe we're going to see it go on 1. Or on A, pardon me. You definitely want that to run as fast as possible to pick up your other offset daemon that's here in your yard. Yep, there's A. Makes a lot of sense to me. All right, of course, nice thing here, this thing has haste, so 3 haste and with life gain, lifelink, definitely important here. It's not going to block, so might as well just throw it at your opponent's face. If the life totals didn't matter so much, I mean, there's a reason to, like, maybe crew the Hardsuit and send the Hardsuit out for 4 damage, but it's fine. Melon is online, right? Giving your stuff hexproof is just really big. It means you don't have to worry at all about any of your opponents, like removal, like the overflow. No, what is it called? Downlink overload. Chronicle of Extinction could still work, but yeah, it's not going to hit that 3 toughness. So there's a concession. I believe that's going to be 1-1. So we'll see each other in game 3, and we'll see how that goes. Alrighty, no extra sideboarding really had to be done. Both players were both ready for it. Let's see what the opening hands are. We've got Lands, Ignited Souls, Hang, Exorcist, Scrapyard Chronicle. Honestly, not a bad curve. Plenty of interaction. Hand attack. Yeah, I think that's an easy keep 7 for DrChipmunk. And over on Phoenix's side as well, all 3 colors that you need. Nothing on turn 1, but you do have an attuned acolyte followed by a wayward Drek, or obviously vice versa. Swift approach and con picking to deal with your opponent's cards. Second attuned acolyte is actually really nice. The 1/2 is a good bit of toughness here. I would imagine you're not in a rush to drop the Exorcist. You might... No, never mind. Okay. Is there a reason maybe you do Ignited Soul first, you deal combat damage, you discard a card if you do draw a card to... No, I think you Exorcist of Errors first, try and get a read on your opponent's hand, and then see what you can keep and what you can pitch, right? Because that Chronicle of Extinction is looking pretty spicy here. Everything here essentially dies to 1, except for the Hardsuits, so... yeah, a little bit of thinking is going to be necessary, so... we're not going to hesitate. We're just going to cut and then come back as soon as the hands are finished being chosen. All right, and here are the hands. Looks like we're giving a bunch of stuff face up, trying to preserve, I would imagine, the Wayward Drek. Would be really funny if that was like 3 lands. Not going to lie. Not able to pick both pieces of removal, of course. Interesting. I actually don't know necessarily what I would do here. I mean, attuned acolytes and stuff, but I mean, 2 pieces of removal, again, is just telling your opponent, hey, whatever you do, I'm just going to Swift Approach, likely. But the problem is, you don't have a turn 1 play, so Swift Approach would eat your turn 2. Yeah, your opponent hasn't presented like a big threat on the board just with an Ignited Soul. And honestly, going a smidge slower is not horrible against an opponent on Chronicle of Extinction. Like, you're not going to have like everything out. So, yeah. Tough choice here on the piles. Even I'm not necessarily sure what it is because, pieces of removal. But, I mean, It's hard to like pass up the opportunity to take something good, and maybe with like your opponent just played 4 non-lands face up, so do you go for the hand? We'll see. All right, looks like we're just going for what's on the board. Swift Approach is being taken. I can get behind that. It's the 2 mana removal, which means your opponent's got to go with Gone Picking. Of course, Gone Picking can then be removed. Not that I think this deck has anything to remove an enchantment, but it's definitely a few turns away. So here's the draw. Gonna think a little bit on what to, because it's discard first, right? What would I discard? I think Hang right now, yeah. Because you know your Chronicle is probably like the big sweeper. I mean, your 4th land is not horrible. You know you're going to need it eventually, so. All right, turns being passed over here to AllWhoWander. I'm going to imagine we're going to see, of course, probably the Swamp here, and then it's just a question of whether or not you want the Attuned Acolyte first or the Wayward Drek. The thing about Attuned Acolyte is the Exalted can affect a creature that already doesn't have Summoning Sickness, so Wayward Drek is quite nice. It's also pretty easy to Cyber Soul on turn 3 because you can use your Colorless Cyborg to do it with a 3rd land, obviously. Not quite going to be at Chronicle of Extinction, and for those who don't know, Wayward Drek's backside is Reborn Herald. When it transforms, you get another token, +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So the thing is, though, none of the artifacts are Chronicle of Extinction proof. They're going to be like the 1/1s, so it'll be a little risky. Because while that can sweep everything up, your Wayward Drek is going to be, or at least the Reborn Herald is going to be likely to kick the bucket. Like Hardsuits and Berries are easier to keep those sticking around, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Exorcist of Errors swinging in, which means Scrapyard Mecha is going to trigger because there were no blocks. It's going to be draw a card and then discard a card. You're not discarding Chronicle of Extinction, and Downlink Overload here is actually quite good, especially if your opponent tries to transform. Anyway, tapped out, so here's Gone Picking, Exorcist of Errors, Swift Approach goes back in the hand. It's nice to have that around, especially if your opponent's going to ever animate or crew the Scrapyard Mecha. It only requires 2, which Exorcist of Errors was going to be able to do, but yeah. Yep, free equip here on Gone Picking is quite nice. So, your opponent knows, DrChipmunk knows that there's 2 Attuned Acolytes because those got revealed off the Exorcist of Errors. Do you hold the Chronicle of Extinction? I would say yes. You've got Downlink Overload. I don't think you necessarily need to save it for much more. The Wayward Drek is like the scariest-ish card. Like, picking it off means your Ignited Soul gets through. You can then discard one of your lands and try and draw into something else, and you keep the Chronicle of Extinction as the backup mode. Opponent's got a lot of cards in hand, some of which you don't know, so the discard 2, exile their graveyard definitely doesn't feel correct right now. I really feel like it's the -2/-2 that's going to work quite well against this deck that goes quite wide. No Kitsune Matriarchs growing fast, so nothing to worry about there. Like, yeah, it doesn't hit the Hardsuit, but yeah. Alright, well, we'll see what the players do. Take a quick pause and be right back again. Alright, so land played out, tapped. Holding up the mana here then for Downlink Overload, not using it yet. Going to see what your opponent does. Might be worth trying to catch a Wayward Drek trying to transform, honestly. I could understand that. Also, gotta love OBS's pause feature. I went without knowing that was a thing for like almost a year. So there's a lot of these like really old matches where I just have to like tank the dialogue for so long, but it's so nice now that I know that I can just go pause. Probably don't have to let everybody know that I'm pausing. I think it's just I'm used to it as if people were live, but that'll be something I work on anyway. So maybe I just don't let you know when we pause and it'll just cut right back to it. Okay, so Attuned Acolyte comes out. We've now got 1, 2, 3 artifacts. I mean, that's most of a Cyber Soul right there, right? Tap, tap, tap. 1 extra mana. Of course, your opponent, if they do that, is just going to Downlink Overload you. Okay, so not tapping the Cyborg, but still going for the Wayward Drek activation, right? Yeah, there's a thought process to not wasting the downlink overload and just Chronicle of Extinction, but I don't think that's correct because it would be what? It would be pretty big. It would be, one, two, three. It would be a pretty big attack. I'm not unhappy with using the downlink overload here. Its controller also mills 2 cards, so Fabricate Anomaly and a basic Plains hits the graveyard. All right, up to 4. Aware that there's another attuned Acolyte in hand. Shame about Chronicle of Extinction, obviously, is that it would get rid of your own Ignited Soul. You got nothing big enough to turn on your Scrapyard Mecha. Is there a world where instead of just sweeping up the 2, you use Chronicle of Extinction for the sacrifice mode so that they can't block your Ignited Soul? You swing, you pitch your Swamp, you try and get something better. You also draw and discard off of a Scrapyard Mecha? Nah, that might be a little too nuts. Okay, well, there's Fabricated Anomaly. This thing, Notorious... I don't even know the word I'm looking for anymore. Anyway, it's got 3 toughness, which means Chronicle of Extinction does not hit it, is what I was trying to say. Attuned Acolyte would get hit. Swift Approach here, not able to take out the Scrapyard Mecha, so that's just kind of be in hand for a while. Definitely doesn't look like it's worth it to throw that at the Ignited Soul. I would imagine Anomaly's pretty good here. I mean, both of these seem pretty good, not gonna lie. Attuned Acolyte is nice. Yeah, that's why I thought we were going with the Fabricated Anomaly with the red here. There is mana left open for it, so running out the Attuned first, keeping the mana in case it was a counterspell. This is looking pretty good. Now that these are out and you've got Exalted, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it's a 5/5 now? Yeah, Ignited Soul taking the damage from this absolutely massive Cyborg. Dang. Drawing so many lands is just not ideal, right? A lot of flood. Like there's ways around it, and I'm glad there was a hold off on the Chronicle of Extinction because the -2/-2 mode here does do quite a bit. But the Hardsuits are still around. They need crew 3, so needed something a little bigger than Fabricated. But hey, Wayward Drek, quite nice. Your opponent's really got nothing left in the tank. Not that AllWhoWander knows that this isn't a swamp, but your opponent's down to 1 card. There's the Drek. Can definitely Cyber Soul this turn, which could mean a Hardsuit swing, right? You're gonna get the Cyborg. You need 1, 2, 3, 4. That could be the transformation. And then this would be pretty big, and then you would be able to crew Hardsuit. So, I'm imagining that's what's gonna happen. Looks like it went for 4. Yep. Cyber Soul. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you get another one, right? So 5. Plus almost 1 for each other one. So this is now going to be 6/6, right? 7/7 once that Fabricated Anomaly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 6/6 though, right? Each other artifact you control. Yeah, okay. They caught it. Anyway, crewing the Hardsuit. No more Attended, so there's no more Exalted, unfortunately. But 4 damage is, more than fine. And then, of course, on following turns, it's going to be a lot more than that. All right, 2 mana open. That's Swift Reproach. Another basic land here. That just doesn't feel great. Really not much DrChipmunk can do here. There's really awkward turns where we could have pushed the damage, but it definitely wouldn't have been ideal. That sweep felt pretty good. One of the things that we had seen, and when we talked about the Rev Tech for Hardsuit, is just how fast Drek rebuilds a board, right? Like Hardsuit's lying around, suddenly it's flipped, you have to deal with a 6/6. Like, it's, yeah, there was a mana investment, but like, dang. Okay, keeping the mana for Swift Reproach up, Fabricated Anomalies coming out. That's going to give the puzzle box. I don't think there's going to be enough cards to give it a +1/+1 counter. Not on that one, but I mean, you can definitely put the exile one card here for Colorless Cyborg. I mean, what's really cool about exiling the cards is if your opponent's still on Aphanai, they're just not going to ever get to 8. All right, so there's a crew. So that's going to be 7, 4. That's 11, 12, 13. One off. Is there a way that could have been slightly bigger? I mean, yes, it could have been 1 mana, Kitsune Matriarch, then you drop Fabricated Anomaly, makes the token. This would have been 2, then you could have converted that into your last 4/4 Hardsuit. But anyway. Oh, were there enough cards, though? Oh, there were. 1 and 4. Yeah, sorry. There was 5. There was enough for lethal here. And yeah. Whew. Close games. Honestly, this was pretty good, and they were very different games, all 3 of them, which is really quite nice. So shame again for the basic land flood, but that's part of Magic the Gathering, and you just got to kind of play around it. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to have this video up pretty shortly, and stay tuned. We're aiming to have some more Grand Prix quarterfinals videos coming up tomorrow. So take care.